Welcome back to Dice to Pixels. We're seeing stars this week, and we're going to share that with you right now.
That was pretty good.
That was a good one.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Starfield, which, like a bunch of bums, you two haven't played.
Not yet, because we've been playing a different star game.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I've been playing a different star game.
So we're going to talk about Starfield and we're going to talk about Sea of Stars. We're going to start with Starfield because everybody's talking about Starfield. So I've been playing it. I played, I don't know, 10, 15 hours at least, maybe more than that. So I've got a pretty good sample. For anyone who knows the game, I've gotten to the first temple. I've gotten past that. So that's where I am in the story. You can judge from there how far I am. It's good, but it misses great. That's quite the take, eh?
That was a
That was the most negative good I've ever heard.
yeah.
So there's a reason for that. So it is a good game, no question, but it could have been so fucking good. It could have been great, and it's good, and even good is almost being generous, because honestly, I'm hard pressed to say, like, if you've got Game Pass, great, because it's free.
Because Game Pass is great.
Well, that too. If you don't have Game Pass, do not buy it. Just go and get Fallout 4 for whatever, like $10 and rock on. Because honestly, they haven't really changed anything.
It's funny that you brought up the Game Pass thing, because today I was actually talking to a friend who only has PlayStation. And when he found out that Starfield was like exclusive to Xbox PC, he went out after work. Well, he says he's going to buy an Xbox Series X now. And honestly, we've talked about it before. Game Pass, hell yeah. It's definitely the way to be. But
yeah. So I bought I bought the upgrade, the Game Pass upgrade, which, if you don't know that this exists, it's been everywhere on the internet, so you probably do. But if you don't know, Game Pass members can buy the premium upgrade for Starfield, which gets you access to the first DLC and a couple other things for whatever.
It's like $40, isn't it?
It's like 40 Canadian, because you get weirdly, it's a Game Pass upgrade, but they also give Game Pass members 10% off. So like it's the price, and then it's like permanently discounted for everyone. It's kind of weird.
Wow, I see you have Game Pass.
But anyway,
it could be $50, but because you're subscribed to Game Pass,
it's a little weird. But anyways, it wasn't expensive. So this has long since gone by the time you're listening to this, but it also got you access to the early days, which is why I did it. But it also gets you the first DLC for free, so it probably more or less works out. What can I say about it? Loading screens ahoy.
Yep.
Cutscenes that don't need to be there. The dialogue feels like, people have been saying it feels like a 10-year-old game, and it does badly. It's not a bad game, but it feels like Fallout except with planets, which is not what it could have been. I do think it's getting a bit of a bad rap, because one of the things that I think people haven't realized is that if you lean really heavily into the fast traveling, it works better. So you can actually do a fast travel from the surface of one planet all the way to the surface of another planet and skip all of the loads and everything in between. So it just loads from surface to surface. It makes it more palatable, because you're not, like, if you actually do it the way that the game sorts of like instructs you to, you have to like take off you have to fast travel to your ship, which is a loading screen, and then you have to take off, which is a loading screen, and then you have to grav jump to the new system, which is a loading screen, and then you have to land on the new planet, which is a loading screen, and then
Jesus.
and then you have to exit your ship, which is a loading screen.
Oh my God.
It's bad. And so people have been comparing it, and I would compare it to No Man's Sky, for the specific reason that, like, No Man's Sky, it effectively doesn't have loading screens. Like, you can land from a planet and you can take off from a planet, and there's no loads. Like, it's smooth.
Yeah.
And although No Man's Sky was not good when it was released, because it wasn't really what they said it was, that worked when it was released. And I don't know off the top of my head when it was released, but I'm going to say it was like
When
No Man's Sky. Like, I'm going to say like 2016.
Yeah,
I'm looking it
wanna
up.
say that.
I'm looking it up.
Several years old.
16 or 17 because I remember I bought it when it first came out.
It's in that
16.
neighborhood. 16, yeah.
Okay.
It's been doing that for 9 or 7 years, right? So like the fact that this brand new Bethesda game can't handle like non-loading takeoff and landing is,
Yeah.
but it's actually worse than that. Like there are like single room shops that you'll go into and it'll take a loading screen to go into.
Oh
Oh,
my
God.
god.
Which is especially weird because other places that are even bigger, there's no load screen. You just
That's
go
so
in.
weird.
It's so weird.
You didn't even have that with Skyrim.
No, it's very strange. Like so there's in New Atlantis, there's a lot of it you can just go
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty open and you can go wherever you want. But there's one in particular, Outland, which is like just a single room shop and it requires a loading screen.
Is there a lot in the shop?
No, there's a guy and a desk and nothing. Like it's the lamest room on the game, and yet it requires its own loading screen.
Hmm.
Wow.
It's weird. It's weird. It feels very not polished.
Yeah.
So it's upsetting to me a little bit because it could have been so good if it had been No Man's Sky, but with Bethesda like judging the story and like they should have just bought No Man's Sky and or licensed the engine and then
Mhm.
built their story on it, and then I think they would have something amazing. But man, did they miss. And the quality of life in the game, just everything is clunky, everything feels slow, everything just gets in your way, nothing is simple. It's fun, but it's only barely fun. Like it's in its way so much. It's embarrassing.
Like there's a lot of ways that Skyrim, and I didn't play much of Fallout 3, but even a little bit of Fallout 3, like some of that felt very clunky too. But that's forgivable because that game is so old. It was fantastic for the time because everything was clunky then and it was less clunky, but that's
absolutely,
that's unforgivable.
Yeah, no, this feels as clunky as Skyrim, but is a brand new game.
Jeez.
So
I'll never understand why in this day and age of with all of the technologies and stuff that we have, and the biggest thing about these new gen consoles was supposed to be how these hard drives make loading like super, super fast.
Absolutely.
I do not understand why so many of these game developers are so stuck in, Bethesda, obviously, like with the like you said, load screens. I haven't played it yet, but when I do play it, I'm sure I'll have the same opinion.
Yeah.
But I even mentioned this before about a couple other games that have come out recently that feel like they should have come out in like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
It's weird.
Like I don't get it. Like you have all of this technology that can, like the loading times in Starfield. Like,
Yeah, well, and it's especially funny because I'm willing to bet. So when you take off from a planet, it plays this animation with the super flamey ship, and which is weird in and of itself because it's like, wait, is it powered by a fusion reactor or is it powered by chemical rockets? Because whatever. That's the space nerd in me. But like, come on, get it right. But you take off and it plays this animation and then it starts loading. That's what it feels like anyways. And it's like, why aren't you loading while you're playing? At the very least, like start playing the animation and start loading. And if you finish loading, cut the animation.
Because like even with the first the first original God of War, the loading screens were so
Scooter has joined us.
Okay. They're just so well disguised with the hallways. Like
Yeah.
they proved then that you can disguise loading screens maybe not easily, but you can disguise them in such a way that they still feel interactive and you're still in the game.
That's the key. Like even if you know it's a loading screen, but it's not just playing the same fucking animation over and over, that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter did it well. It wasn't Harry Potter. It was Hogwarts Legacy. it would just try to load everything before you got there. But if you
Yeah.
were booking it through, you'd hit a door and it would be like, okay, hang on, give me a second.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
They could have done that.
Even I look back to something as Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and this is like a PlayStation 1 game, and it eventually had a Dreamcast port. But even on the PS1, they had that game where you never run into a loading screen.
Yeah.
Because it had those like transition zones where like when you hit that, that's when it starts loading like the next area and all, but you're still in the game, you're still running, you're still controlling it and all that. And this is the PlayStation 1 era.
Well, this is the thing, like we've had this technology for years. This is inexcusable. And that's why people are talking about it and giving it a bad rap. And it deserves a bad rap for that. But I do think that a lot of people have missed the fact that you can like fast travel like across the galaxy in one jump. You don't have to do the whole, because until I discovered that, I was ready to just drop the game and never play it again, because I was like, it takes you like 5 minutes to go from point A to, this is probably an exaggeration, but it's a long time to go from point A to point B if you like do each hop. But once you find out that it's like, oh, you can just set your course and jump, and then it's just, you're literally right there, it gets a lot more palatable.
So with that fast travel, is it like other games where you have to have visited there first? Or?
Not entirely. In order to land at your destination, yes, but you can go all the way to orbit of a new planet that you haven't been to before in one jump.
Yeah, that sounds.
And then you just have to land, which is fine.
Perfectly reasonable.
The other thing that I think a lot of people haven't noticed about the game, that it's kind of Scooter.
She's got opinions about it too.
Well, she's been watching me play, so she would have thoughts. You can go anywhere on the planets. So something that it doesn't make obvious is you can actually just you can just hit like A on any spot on a planet, and it will let you land there.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of neat. So you don't have to just limit yourself to like the landing zones that they've given you.
Let Daddy
but yeah, let me rant, Scooter. But all that said, like, it just feels so clunky. And it is so clunky. Like, I went to a space station, and apparently it was owned by the Freestar Collective, which have decided that I have a bounty on me. I didn't do jack shit to them, but they've decided I have a bounty on me.
You dick.
So I hailed the station, and they were like, come aboard for ship upgrades. And I'm like, cool, that sounds inviting. I might be pirates, but let's go. I land, and instantly I've got like 5 of these assholes shooting at me. I'm like, okay, cool. So I kill them all, because like, of course I'm going to kill them all. And then I'm just stuck with like customers and citizens like milling about. They don't care. They haven't reacted at all yet.
That drives me so crazy.
Oh, it gets worse. So I'm like, well, at this point, I've taken out all the resistance, so I want to take over the space station.
Yeah.
Because
why not?
Why wouldn't I? So I'm like trucking around, and like all the doors are like inaccessible. You can't go there. It's like, okay, fine. So eventually I just got frustrated, because I'm like, there's nothing I can do at this station at all except get shot at. That's really like stupid and annoying. So I just shot one of the people in the face, and all of a sudden everybody goes red and they start running around, and some of them draw pistols. I'm like, cool. Finally. No, you can't kill them.
What the fuck?
You can shoot them, but they don't take damage.
What the fuck?
And then 30 seconds later or so, they just revert to like whatever. And so this one woman who had her little canned response when you try to talk to her, she's like, excuse me, but we're in a meeting. She's out in the hallway where I just unloaded a shotgun in her face, and she's reset, and now she's like, excuse me, we're in a meeting. It's like, come on, man. Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
That is Skyrim level bad.
Yeah.
And at the time that Skyrim was released, that's excusable.
Yeah.
But not today.
No.
Yeah. It's a good game, but it leaves a lot on the table before it could be great.
It sounds like it's an okay game, or like straddling the good and okay.
It's good in that it is expansive. Like, it is, if you wanted more of Fallout or something, this is it.
Yeah.
If you wanted a newer version, not really.
I mean, if you wanted like space Fallout, just play the Outer Worlds.
Right? That was something I had heard. Like, it's if you want good like space travel and expansive universe, you go with No Man's Sky. And then they were like, but if you want an RPG, you have to play Starfield. There's nothing else. And I'm like, Outer Worlds has so much story in it.
Yeah. It surprises me that they released the game that they released, because I expected more from Bethesda. So by all means, if you've got Game Pass, check it out, because I mean, why not? It's as far as a Game Pass game, it's a good game. But damn, did I expect more. If I had paid $100 for it, I would have been a little grumpy. Which brings me to two things. First of all, the thing that I mentioned before and didn't tell you. So I was looking at some user reviews on Metacritic, because I wanted to see if things had sort of corrected after all of the hype. And mostly things seem to be trending in the right direction. Like Tears of the Kingdom has come down. A couple other things have gone up.
This is for Starfield?
Well, Starfield's low, and we already know that.
The PlayStation version's clearly better.
Diablo 4.
Oh. Oh, no.
2.
User score of 2.
2.
Wow.
I mean,
What?
it's not great, but it's no. I wouldn't put it at a 2.
I think that might be a little mean.
For PC?
Wow.
I think it was PC that I was looking at. People are just shitting on it.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And to be fair, I think that's not unreasonable. I mean, it isn't that good a game.
No,
It's
but
okay, but I don't think it's a 2.
no, I would
God.
put it at maybe like a 4.
I think it's in like the 5-ish area. Yeah, like
PS5 version's 1.7.
So yeah.
Oh, the Xbox version's still good though. It's 2.8.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw earlier that I'm like, oh, they will enjoy that.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, it has a 2 on PC.
Oh my god.
Which is because I was like, well, I haven't touched it in a while, because I completely lost interest in it.
Same.
And I was like, I wonder what its score is at.
Holy crap.
So, but that brings us on to the Other Stars game.
Yeah.
Which is actually, it is great.
Oh my god. Yes, it is. Holy crap. So, Sea of Stars. I have been waiting for this thing since it was announced last year. It is finally out. It is also on Game Pass. I cannot recommend this game to anybody enough. Like, if you have Game Pass, and even if you don't, this game is a fucking masterpiece. This is a great game. I love this game. Right now, it is my game of the year. I have been playing the shit out of it. I am a huge fan of Sabotage Studios, the development team behind the game. They did probably my favorite game of all time, The Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And jumping into this, it's a prequel to The Messenger. And getting right into it, it reminded me so much of Chrono Trigger and muting your laptop.
Shut up.
It reminded me a lot of Chrono Trigger, but I think actually the combat is more reminiscent of the Super Mario RPG, where when you get into your combat, when you attack, if you time, so Xbox, it's the A button. For the PlayStation, it would be X, and then a Nintendo with the bottom button. I can't remember which one it is. If you time the button press, you'll do extra damage, but your character will do like another attack. So that was cool. Same for
blocking.
Yeah, same for blocking. If you time the button press, when the enemy hits you, you take less damage, which is
about
awesome.
A quarter less. About
yeah. And then the skills and the spells. Valere, your main characters in the game are Zale and Valere. Zale's the male with the solar power, and then Valere is the lunar powered one. So her, for example, she has a skill called Moonerang. And you basically hit A button and she throws it, and as it comes back, if you hit A, it'll keep going back and forth, and it gets quicker and quicker and quicker. And there is an achievement / trophy where if you can do that 25 times, you get your trophy.
Yeah.
Insanely good skill. Like insanely
Very
good. If you got like 3 or 4 enemies all around and you just see this thing like boom, 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 like bouncing back and forth, you could potentially clear the entire battle like right away.
One of the things that I thought was a really cool addition to the combat, and Messenger might have this, I don't know. I never played the Messenger.
Well, the Messenger's just like a 2D. It's more of a platform.
So when an enemy is powering up to do their magical attack or heal or whatever it is, they have like a lock on them, which requires certain types of damage to break. And if you break that before they get the spell cast, then they lose the spell. They lose that attack entirely and they reset, which is really cool. It makes you actually like engage, like you were saying earlier. You never feel like you're going to put the controller down or like sort of just casually hit A over and over and over again. Like it's engaging for that sort of isometric game.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really, really good job in combat.
Yep. It's fantastic. I love it. I'm really digging the story. I'm liking it a lot.
It's decent. I mean, I'm way not nearly as far as you are, but I'm liking it, and that's saying something because usually I'm the story curmudgeon. So.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's there's no like the cutscenes that they have in this. They go from the actual game to like an animated. It almost looks like cartoon.
Yeah.
In some places,
but they're brief.
Yeah, they're really brief. They're so well done. Like they are so good. The graphics in this game are incredible. It's like 16-bit Super NES JRPG kind of thing, but they're vibrant. They look amazing. The animations are really good. The music is, and so again, good. The Messenger had probably one of the best freaking soundtracks in my opinion. And Sea of Stars, they had Kowloon Knights who did they did music for Chrono Trigger, and so they're working with them, and like they've taken some Messenger songs and they've remixed them and they're in the game. So I was playing, and this isn't a spoiler, but I was playing the other night, and I got to this point where I went to Glacial Peak, and it's obviously a winter level, right? Like with palm trees. Yeah, I know, right? So when the music started playing, I instantly recognized it from the Messenger, and I literally stopped, and I was just, and Sarah looked over at me, and she just started. She's like, "This is from the Messenger, isn't it?" And I just looked at her, and I was like, yeah. I was geeking out. Like, there's been so many moments, again, because like the Messenger is just, I've played the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And there's been so many moments where I've seen like little Easter eggs, and there was one point where I was just losing my tree because it was one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is and it's just like this. I love this freaking game. I absolutely love this game. I remember I told you, because we were talking, we brought up the early access for Starfield, but then I said, like, I'm playing Sea of Stars, you have to play this game.
Yeah, and I have, and Chad might be slightly overstating how fantastic the game is, but it is fantastic. And I would agree, like you said, it's your game of the year. Hands down my game of the year so far as well.
Yeah.
Mind you, that's partly because so far it's the only game that I've played this year that came out this year that I've been like, this is actually great. A lot of them have been like, eh. But this is a great game. It is. The soundtrack is great. The story is good. The controls are excellent. They get out of your way. That is the main thing. Like the juxtaposition between this and Starfield. This is a game that knows what it wanted to be and just does it correctly.
Yeah.
If you like the sort of Final Fantasy, Super Mario RPG, that sort of vibe, like the classic stuff, this is a great sample of that. They've done it really, really well.
Yep. I'm going to go a step further here, and I've watched a bit of it, but The Escapist, they're a channel on YouTube, and they have their own website. They do amazing video game documentaries, and they did one for Sea of Stars. We'll put a link down in the description. Just, I'm going to pimp your shit, Escapist, because it's really good. They do
for our thousands and thousands.
It's a really good documentary, and I recommend it. I am head over heels over this game. Like I have not been disappointed. Like there's been a few times, and it's just because I'm an old bastard, and my reflexes aren't quite what they used to be. So sometimes,
So interestingly, I actually thought for a while, and I'm still not sold that there isn't. I think there might be a little bit of a bug in the blocking system.
I think
the timing doesn't
seem
off
a bit
quite right.
Yeah.
Attacking works great. I've never had any trouble lining that up. Blocking is a little wonky, but once you face the same enemy enough times, you figure out where it's supposed to be. But like they say, it's supposed to be when you impact, and it's not, and it's off a little bit.
Yeah, there was a few times where I would like I they do their thing, and then I thought I'd get it, but no, crap.
Yeah.
So then you just kind of memorize their motion and stuff, and then it seemed to be like, wow, I'm hitting this well before it lands, but it's still working.
Yeah,
So,
it's a little wonky, but I mean, it's not a thing that you need to do. It just saves you a bit of damage.
yeah.
But actually, the other thing that I wanted to talk about with Sea of Stars, before I forget, there's actually two things. The relics, they're called,
Yeah.
are great. So they're
Mhm.
basically cheats. You can buy them from shops, you can find them in the world, whatever. And one of them, for instance, allows you to, all of your basic attacks will just automatically double up, but it also slightly reduces it by half,
By
I think.
50%, yeah.
So you don't get as much bonus, but you get the double hit
Mhm.
every time without fail.
Yep.
Which is great. Like if Danielle was playing it, I feel like that's something she would like, because she's probably not, like, she struggles a little bit with timing of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's the story mode one, which just
Gives you-
boosts your HP
yeah.
like a son of a bitch, makes it easier for you. There's the hard mode. Like
Where
there's
you-
just all these different sigils that you pick up. Some of them, one of them is like you just get better prices at the shop. So that's just like, that's not like a cheat. That's just like a, and then other ones border on the sort of cheat aspect of things. And
Yeah, they have some like there's one that you take 30% less damage.
yeah,
There's another one where you take more damage.
right.
And then they have a whole series of them associated with the fishing minigame.
Yep.
Which
is pretty good.
I really like the fishing minigame.
They did a good
Yeah,
job.
watching you with that looks like the best fishing mini game I've ever seen in a game recently.
It's the only one I've ever played, and I'm not saying it's the only one that exists. It's the only one I've ever played that your line will snap if you push it too hard.
If you're not in the track, like
Yeah.
so,
Or even sometimes if you're just holding it down for too long, it'll
yeah. So when you cast, you stand at a dock and you cast it out, and as it's in the air, you hit A, but then you can direct where the bobber goes.
Yeah.
So you'll see like obviously a bunch of silhouettes and shadows where the various fish are. And the second it hits, you see them, boom, they grab onto it, and then you'll see this blue bar with like it's like a solid, but then it's like less solid, and you have to try and keep it in that, and you'll be able to reel it in. But when it goes out, that's when you start losing line strength.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good.
It's good.
It's so fun.
I thought they did a great job. The wheels game in there is also actually really well done.
Mhm.
It's a little mini game that you don't have to play at all, but if you do, you can like challenge champions to like get better figures, and it's a really cool idea.
Is that like was that the
The one that's
that
like
was confusing? The weird
Yeah,
one?
like,
yeah.
It's like a clockwork game
you
where
spin, and then you
It
have
looked like
like
a
these.
slot machine if you don't know what you're looking at.
it's
Yeah.
sort of a combination between like one of the old football slot games and a slot machine. It's a really cool idea, and it's actually fun once you figure out how it works. It's actually a really fun little thing.
And it's I can't remember which one it was. Assassin and I think Assassin and Mage are like the OP.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. Yeah.
It's disgustingly
Yeah,
OP.
They're pretty good together. But
yeah.
you like level up your wheel so you get better options and you can get different figures, and it's like a whole little game within the game, and it's well
Nice.
done.
Yeah.
It is a great game. There are so many games that have come out that just fall short. They thought they were going to be something better than they were, and they just aren't. And maybe they get there eventually, but they aren't there to begin with. Sea of Stars, I mean, I haven't been disappointed. There was only one time so far that I was starting to get like curmudgeon-y about the story. And it's when you go to Wraith Island, there's like the scene in the sort of inn, and it drags on a bit.
Yeah.
But not badly, and most people wouldn't even think of it.
Yeah.
But for me, like anything that takes away my controls for more than like 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, come on guys, let's go.
Yeah. And with the style of the game too, it's like everything is at your pace. So like it's not like you're confined to having to watch a cutscene for a standing amount of period. Like you have all these dialogue boxes, and it's like, okay, if you're not interested in it, just keep hitting A. Just skip, skip.
To be clear, I everything I've been doing in the game, I fast. It's the classic like hit A once to auto complete it, and then hit A again to skip it.
Yeah,
I've been reading everything, but I'm like, hey, like let's go. I can read faster than like one word an hour. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
So
fuck.
It's good. It's good. Like, that's the only time out of several hours of play, that was the only time that I was like, okay, this could have used a little bit of breaking up. This has been going on for a while. But even then, it was probably 45 seconds. Like, most people wouldn't even.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say this, though. Pay attention to the pirates.
Yeah.
When you meet them back and they're talking,
Yeah.
it's little jabs at some JRPG
Oh, yeah.
cliches and
No,
stuff.
it's great.
There was the one where
Leaving you at one hit point
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
the boss can run away and you can.
and then there was one where you come back and they're like, yeah, you know, the boss was really, you know, doing a number on us before, but we came back with like 40 elixirs and we
Yeah.
beat it.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is so
no,
true for like a
they're-
lot of JRPGs back in the day.
I enjoyed that.
Well, the
whole
Messenger
exchange.
had a lot of that too, did it
Yeah,
not?
very witty
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the people at Sabotage Studios are like
Well,
they do incredible
Yeah,
work.
it sounds like they're game lovers themselves. They're probably all within our age
Mhm.
range as well. And it sounds like they make their games labors of love.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a lot in their games, but it's not like they have such a huge scope that they can't focus on everything.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they definitely know what they're building and then stop when they've built it and
Yeah.
don't try and add too much extra.
Yeah.
Definitely, like I said, like I've been shitting on every game that's come out this year that I've played. Everything. Baldur's Gate, Diablo, Starfield. Like I've sounded like I fucking hate games this entire year. Not Sea of Stars. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
This one character, the one pirate, which I thought was actually kind of funny, and it was in the demo too. When you get to the restaurant that's in the boat in Brisk, and you're going to talk to the pirates about getting passage to Wraith Island, and they give you if you can beat so and so in an arm wrestling
Yeah.
contest. And so Garl is probably one of the better characters.
He's great.
He's amazing.
fun.
Like he is such a good character.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then you see this like little skinny guy and his shirt rips off and he's just freaking huge. He does the bicep flex and then he does the pec flex or whatever. And
Yeah.
you're just like, what the hell? And then the table just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
I thought like just stuff like that is just like,
Yeah,
man.
it's good fun. Like, and it's well done. The pacing's good.
And it's a complete game.
Yes, yes, which is, and that's not even like shitting on DLC because DLC can be fine.
Yep.
But like, it's not buggy as hell. It works. Everything's there. It's not like, oh well, we know that's broken, but we'll get to it. It's like, no, everything's there. It works. It's good. It's clearly been tested well. Like I've
Yeah.
run into no glitches. The save mechanic is good. It's you can save plentifully, but if you're being a bit irresponsible, you're gonna lose some progress. It's great. It is a great game. It is the first great game that I have played this year.
Man,
So-
our game of the year, our end of the year awards are going to be
Not what most people give them to.
No. Well, they weren't
Jeez.
last year either.
No. I will be shocked if Baldur's Gate doesn't get Game of the Year from a lot of places. And I mean, I haven't played it yet,
It
so
won't though, because
it's D&D.
because Legend of Zelda came out this
Oh
year.
yeah, Tears of Kingdom, that piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
might get it.
Oh, ironically enough, speaking of,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, my best friend Jim, he remembered when we were talking about that a while ago, and how I said like the only way I'd play it is if Jim like gifted it or borrowed it, let me borrow it or gifted it to me. So we were at him and his new wife Tiffany's wedding a couple weeks back, and we got up to our hotel room, and of course there was the bag there because I was his best man. And
Yeah.
what should be in there but a copy of Tears of the Kingdom? So
now you have to.
now I
Yes.
have to play it because and Jim was talking it up like he I remember you didn't like it, you didn't like Breath of the Wild and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, well, I'll play it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tears of the Kingdom, like Breath of the Wild, we didn't like very much because of the mechanics of like breaking your weapons and
that
everything.
that killed it.
It was way too much. Like
Yeah.
breaking weapons is one thing, but it was like crazy how quickly they broke. And then problem with Tears of the Kingdom was not only was it the same fucking game, it should have been a DLC. Like it never should have stopped being a DLC.
Yeah.
It started as one and it should have remained as one.
Yep. Yeah.
And as a result, it's a game that had shaky footings to begin with and was a DLC released as a game. It's like, that's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, people will vote for it for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it might, like, Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield, I think, will be up there.
Oh, Starfield won't get it because they went to Game Pass.
Oh, that's a good point.
Too many people are grumpy about that.
Yeah, that's a good
Really?
point. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So exclusives always have a hard time with Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that like pisses people off, even if it's for stupid reasons, has trouble with Game of the Year. So Starfield won't get Game of the Year.
I don't understand why people wouldn't like it going to Game Pass.
Because they own a PlayStation.
Pretty soon.
That's honestly the answer. And they get super... I mean, the one review from Sea of Stars, which was, this is better on PlayStation, so they gave the Xbox version a 0. It's like...
literally the same game.
It's like, yeah, it's like, it's the same game. And why would you bother? I mean, your answer was they're like 8 years old or whatever.
Yes.
And that is the answer. But like...
Well, and that'll be one of those games that I'm going to buy. Like, see, I'm buying Sea of Stars on every platform. I don't give a shit.
Don't buy it for PlayStation. There's no point.
Well, I'm going to buy it for PlayStation anyway.
Don't buy it. Just buy a second copy for Xbox.
I'm insane. No.
He's already bought a second copy for Steam.
Yeah, I got it on Steam. So it's on the Steam Deck because that tided me over while we were up up north there last weekend.
Open this can.
Yeah, we've been we've been away for it's the past couple weeks have been pretty crazy. I mean, we had the wedding.
It's been a while since
Yeah.
we've recorded.
Yeah,
and actually, because of that, I've played a whole bunch of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually mentioned the one episode about you were gonna play Sherlock
Holmes. Yeah. So
I don't have the box handy.
I think it was the last episode. I know where it is, but it doesn't matter. I think it was last episode that went live.
Yes.
It was like 2 weeks ago for us, but it was the last episode that went live. We pulled a random bag out of the thrift store and it was Sherlock Holmes. So it was weird. So it's basically like high school level riddles.
Oh.
So there are 3 difficulty levels of riddles.
Mm-hmm.
And to their credit, like the back of each of the cards has like a little like peephole in it, and it actually has like a depiction of the riddle that it's talking about. And like there's a whole bunch of them. There's like 120 or so. And complete game for $3.50. Like I think I was the first person to have ever opened that game. I was worried about it missing pieces. I don't think it had ever been played. If you have a high school age child and you're trying to get them to learn, like test them with their like algebra and linguistics and stuff, it might be a great game. I didn't hate it, but it was weird. Because like every question was like, there was one that was basically the Einstein riddle, which is like, if you have a bunch of coins in your pocket and one of them is heavier or lighter and you don't know which one it is, how can you find it? What's the minimum number of weighings you can do to find it out? And it's basically the Einstein riddle, and the answer's 3, and I knew this instantly, but like, that's a weird thing. And like every card is of that nature. One that Danielle got was, I forget the 2 words, but both words contained only the first 7 letters in the language. So like nothing past an F. And like they're weird riddles where it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. But they're all sort of like high school level riddles. And it's basically just the first one to X points wins. And the different difficulties are worth more points. It's a game that I might play, like legitimately play, but most people would probably hate.
That's probably why you were the first person to play it.
Yeah.
But also, I think having riddles of that level works for the most number of people too, because not everyone is like, well, I didn't know the Einstein thing. Well, I probably did back in high school.
And
but
most
like,
people probably wouldn't be able to get that instantly.
Yeah.
I was able to get most of the questions that we had. There was one that I missed that was difficulty, the high difficulty, because I just went straight to the high end because I was like, screw it, let's just do this. The other 2 were going to the low end, and like I could answer all of them because I mean I'm also a bit of a riddle junkie, so I know a lot of these things. Like there were some of them that I'm just like, I've seen that before. I know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Fucking cheater.
Yeah, right. But if you were in the high school range of knowledge, either because that's where you want to play because you don't want to hurt your brain, or because you're trying to like learn algebra and stuff, because some of them were just straight up basically algebra word problems that you would have had in like grade 11 algebra if you did it. So it was weird. But
could you make it into a drinking game, though?
Oh, you 100%
Then
could make
there
it into
is
the
like
drinking
your
game.
20s and into your senior millennial age range.
And that is how I would play it if I was going. It was interesting, but it's not a game that I would recommend because most people we played like 3 or 4 rounds of it, and then Danielle and my buddy Aaron were kind of like, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I could take or leave it. It's fine. We played it. We know what it is.
It just seems weird to put the Sherlock Holmes label on that because I would expect like the riddles to be more deductive reasoning.
Which that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like little stories where it was like card 1 and then card 2 makes it a little clearer and card 3 and like depending on how many cards you need, you get more points sort of thing. That's what I was expecting. It was not that.
You got Sherlock Holmes. You bought Sherlock Holmes expecting Sherlock Holmes, but instead got the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. So anyways, interesting, weird. I wouldn't recommend it because I think most people wouldn't enjoy it, but it wasn't bad. It was well made. So that's my review of the Sherlock. I don't even remember the full name of it, but if you care, it was in the last episode.
And you can probably find it at a thrift store.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's still in print, right? Like, I don't know how old it was or anything. So, but then after that, we played Wingspan.
Yes.
Yeah, I am interested in this.
I had never played Wingspan before. So to give you an idea of how much I enjoyed Wingspan, we played it once. I think we just played it once. Later, no, it was the next morning. I went on Steam and I bought it. And I have played probably 85 games of Wingspan on the digital version since then.
Oh my god!
It's a worker placement game where you're a bird watcher, and so you basically play bird cards from your hand by feeding them, and you have 3 different tracks. You have your forest, which is where you get your food. You have your scrublands, which is where you get, or your whatever lands where you get where you lay eggs. And then you have the sort of river / stream / whatever, where you draw new bird cards into your hand. So those are your like 3 tracks. And each of those is associated with the action of either get food, lay eggs, or draw cards. And the more birds you play into any of those areas, the more powerful that power becomes. So it's basically a worker placement with 4 options, but 3 of the 4th option being play a card. But the 3 options get better the more you lay birds into them. And it's only 4 rounds. Like it's multiple turns per round, but it's only 4 rounds. And it's basically just whoever gets the most points. There are a handful of mechanics for getting points. And like super simple to teach, super simple to play. But I've played, like I said, like probably 85 games, and I consistently beat the AI in the game, but like my score, that's it.
Yep.
My score ranges from like mid 60s to like one game I got like 135, which by the way, if you're like, no, you didn't, I totally did. And it was stupid. I think probably like 90 is the most you would normally get, but I just started with great birds and I ended up creating a factory that made like 14 points a turn. It was ridiculous. Wow. A great game. Really, really like it.
There's a reason why it's so popular then.
There is a reason it's so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I personally like games like Power Grid or like maybe Agricola better because they're deeper. But in terms of like a fairly gentle worker placement game,
I'm looking at it on Steam here, and it looks like the developers are Monster Couch.
Yeah.
They're also the ones that are doing Quilts and Cats of Calico. That's supposed to be out sometime this year.
Yes, and the original game is, I think it's a Stonemaier game, the board game. And they just announced, because I think it was leaked, so they had to, but they just officially announced Apiary.
Oh.
I believe it's the same studio for the board game, which is going to be Bees.
Greater Than Games?
I thought it was Stonemaier.
You're right. Yeah, it is Stonemaier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their next game, I already knew that it was apiary. I feel like that's been at least rumored for a while, although I also have a few insider contacts, so I might have known that inappropriately.
They have,
but it's official now. So
there's 3 expansions for it as well.
For Wingspan, yeah.
Yeah, Oceania expansion, Asia, and European.
I haven't felt the need to play with expansions, but I mean,
It's
probably
probably
try
just the different types of birds and the
Right,
environments. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
really
may
good
have
game.
bought it.
Which were
On Steam.
No, the board game.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
okay.
Very cool.
It'll be here Sunday.
Sweet. I mean, it's a very pretty game too. Like
Yes.
both the digital version and the board game are very pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was looking at the layout, some of the layouts on the Amazon page for it, and it's one of those. It's like with Wonderbook, how it
Mhm.
caught our eyes.
Yeah.
Just like this is another one where even though it's laid out like a basic board game, it's vibrant. It's
great.
lovely. It looks great. So
Yeah, I'm super into it.
Nice.
I was gonna buy a copy, but maybe I won't now.
it'll just be here anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, no, highly. I mean, I highly recommend it. Most people have played Wingspan. I'm
Mhm.
way behind the curve on this, but Aaron brought it and was like, "Yeah, let's try it." Fucking fantastic!
Nice.
Love that game.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Aaron.
I'm also
Um,
excited too because it's one I've heard of for a long time and been interested in because it looks gorgeous too and like
Yeah,
probably my type of game as well.
I
What
had-
Sarah's trying to say is that she will open the package, open the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
well, so actually, you can also play it single player. You can play the board game single player too,
Oh,
because there
nice.
is the digital version
Mhm.
on Steam comes with the AI players, but it also
Yeah.
has the Autonoma deck, and that comes with the board game. So it's basically just it's a bunch of turns that are like pre-programmed.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I'll do this, and then I'll flip up the Autonoma and see what it does,
Mhm.
and then I'll play my turn, and then so you can play it single player. You can also add it into a multiplayer game if you want. So the digital version, in case you're curious, has that and AI players, and you can play with both or either or whatever.
Mhm.
And it has co-op and everything and online. And but yeah, the board game's great. And
Nice.
I mean, I was probably gonna buy it. I've looked at it so many times because I've heard about Wingspan for years.
Yep.
But I was like, yeah. Often popular games are too simple for me.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, But every once in a while, like Wingspan is one. King of Tokyo, I really like King
Oh
of
my
Such a
Tokyo.
great
it's
game.
So fun.
What was that train one?
Which one?
The one
Ticket
that
to
we-
Ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride. That
It's-
was a great game.
It's
too.
good. It's a solid game.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been playing the more advanced train game that most people
Oh,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't like, but that I can never remember what it's called. 1864.
The one you talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
it's 1864. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, Wingspan. So I finally played it. It's great. That's not controversial take by any means. Everyone thinks it's great.
We're gonna have a
but,
Wingspan night.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure we should.
Yeah, probably next week.
Yeah, and then the other game that we played since we last recorded was Our Travels.
Oh yeah.
We
'Cause
did.
Yeah, we
we
played
haven't
our
recorded since then.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh geez. Yeah, it was a game I picked up.
Philadelphia.
Was it Philadelphia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we went walking. It was at PAX Unplugged in 21, and
Yeah.
we went walking. We went for a tour of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and
They had
we
just
s-
released that summer
and
too.
just seeing the Art Travels and the knitting thing, and Sarah being a knitter.
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, I remember when we were setting up, just wandering through the alleys because I was moving stuff around for everyone. And I saw, so there, I got the special edition of it, and it came with like a mouse pad type mat. And then they have like little yarn bowls that you
Which are adorable.
Yes, they are. but
And they make horse hoof sounds really, really good.
But the regular game just comes with like little plastic bowls, and it doesn't have the cutout of the swirly for the yarn bowl.
Yeah.
But they have miniature actual wooden yarn bowls, and I saw those before I saw anything else, and I'm like, huh, those look like mini yarn bowls, and I just kept going. And then when I actually went up and down the aisles, their huge background was all yarn balls, and I'm just like, oh my god! And they showed us the demo, and I'm just like he the entire time. And Chad's just like, yep, we're getting this.
We'll get the special one. And I know Sarah was again, she was. If you could see the look on her face, it's so hard to. It's one of those moments where I wish I had my phone and I was recording live, because the look on her face was probably just about as priceless as the look on my face when I heard that tune in Sea of Stars.
Yeah,
like the same thing, except yours was more like giddy, like he, whereas mine was more like.
Yeah,
but
no, I can imagine.
Yeah,
it's
but
super cute.
All four of us just it was a good game. There's some things we're gonna probably play around some house rules if we played again.
Yeah,
just because
the balance was a little wonky.
Yes,
but a good game. It was very enjoyable.
Yes, yeah. So basically, you have knitting projects that you're trying to make, and you make orders for people too. But every turn, you have to refill the store, and like Adrian kept getting screwed over with that really, really bad.
Yeah, there was a couple things that I think were throwing off the balance. Not that you won't care necessarily about this unless you actually play the game, but the one character that I picked didn't have 2 shop actions.
Yeah.
Which I think is more of an issue than maybe they thought it was, because there were turns where it was like, I'd really like to shop right now and I can't.
Yeah.
So that we're going to play around with some house rules and see if we can like tweak things a little bit. But it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's a cute game, easy to learn, easy to play.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah. And those wooden bowls are just
yeah, that was really
the packaging inside of it, there's an insert with plastic and like it had special slots for everything, so you
Really
just take
good.
it out of the box, put it on the table, pick it back up, put it back in the box. The setup was super easy with it all, so yeah, it was
except
great.
for the mouse pad thing, which didn't fit, but that's okay.
Yeah, that was a weird decision that they did with that, but
yeah, it was great.
Well,
I mean, I'll play it
didn't
again
come
any
with
day.
the standard edition of the game, the mouse pad thing.
no, that was part of the special edition.
Yeah,
so the
so
standard
it was an
edition just
afterthought.
has like normal board game that folds.
It was an afterthought, but
Yeah.
but it's good. Yeah, fun game.
Yeah.
Definitely a recommend, especially in the easier end of the worker placement games.
Yeah, and there's some expansions and stuff. So yeah.
And I also wonder if the expansions may solve some of the balance too, just by increasing the number of characters, options, and stuff. But yeah, fun. Really good.
It was nice.
Even though I lost roundly, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Danielle silently playing the entire time and kicked our asses.
Yeah, she rocked
oh my
devil
god.
she is. Jesus.
She rocked it.
She like I mean, most of us managed to knit like, a decent little stockpile, but like she just fucking ended up turning into the Bay or something.
Yeah, no, she did. She came out several points ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. And what else have we played in the last little while?
We were up north. We went to visit the parents, Sarah's parents, and every time we go up there, we always play cards.
Cards Against Humanity.
Nope,
No,
just cards.
Oh, just playing cards. Got it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there was this new game that they had they had started playing called Ratchet, and I believe it's 12 rounds. 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So your first 5 rounds, each round there's a different thing. So
It's
like
a
one
mini,
of them,
yeah, it's
one of them is whoever gets the most tricks gets, I think it's like 5 points per trick that they got or something. And then the next round is if you get the King of Hearts, that's 50 points. And then the next round is if there's 4 queens, if the one player gets all 4 queens, then everybody gets 20 points or something. But if each one goes out, then each person gets a certain amount of points.
You want the lowest score at the end.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the tricks are all done kind of like a euchre, where you lead with a suit. And then obviously high card wins.
Yeah.
But that's whatever you lead, you have to follow that. And then the Ratchet round is it's similar to the card game Sevens, where you have to start, except this is 8s. So you lay down an 8, and then you can go either way, pursuit, but you can only play what's laid, right?
Right.
So it'd be an 8, and you
Yeah.
can lay either the 7 or the 9
Got
and
it.
build that way.
And then if you go out, if you're the first person to go out, you lose 50 points off your score. And if you're the second person to go out, you lose 25 points off your score. It was really, really fun. Like, it was insanely fun. We started playing it the first night we were up there. Just crazy fun.
Yeah.
Crazy fun.
We'll have to play it.
Yeah, it
I
was
have
really
playing
good.
cards.
Yeah.
It was nice too, because I find we always play cards at my parents' place. It's just a given. They've been playing cards since we were little kids. But I personally find that when we play longer games, my attention span starts going to, because it's always nighttime, so I get tired, and it just, because we're all loud, because we're all having a good time. Yeah. That just wears on me too. But this one, because each round is something different, it keeps me engaged enough throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
I do feel like playing cards are something that not enough people actually play.
Gamers, I feel like, don't play it a lot.
There's so many great card games to play.
Yeah.
I love it.
Which is actually refreshing to hear somebody playing something other than fucking euchre. I mean, I like euchre.
Yeah.
But everybody, we got some cards. Oh, let's play euchre. It's like, there are other games.
We've only played euchre once.
Oh, wow.
Like,
That's because I never remember how to play it.
Yeah. Because the last time we played, it was me and Dad against Sarah and Mom, and yeah.
It takes me a couple games to remember how to actually play, and
I always need a refresher on euchre. I don't play it often enough to remember. I mean, I get it right away because I remember once somebody explains it, but it always, like, I forget how to play. Give me a refresher.
3 to 13 is another fun game. It's kind of like Phase 10, but it's different. It's with playing cards instead of like the actual deck called Phase 10. That's another fun one as well.
We also play another one a lot called golf.
Yeah, golf is really good.
Whereas someone deals out 4 cards to each person, and you're only able to see 2 of them, and that one's really good too, because it's nice and fast. But you can't. We always find ourselves like we're chatters when we're playing,
talking shit.
Yeah, we can't do that with this game, because as the night goes on, you just start forgetting what the hell's in your hand, and you get screwed over.
Yeah, golf is. I've played it once. It was pretty fun. The most fun I ever had with cards. I lost immediately, for the record, but it was fun to watch the rest of them. I was playing with a bunch of guys who were pretty good at cardistry, which is the practical side of card magic. So like there's magic tricks, but cardistry is what, like, all of the fake cuts and the floating cards to the top. Cardistry is that, and then you apply cardistry to make card magic tricks. And it was just called Hide the Ace. So we each had an ace, and the goal was to just hide the ace. And if somebody caught you doing your trick, doing the cardistry move, if somebody caught it and could explain exactly what you just did, you were out.
That's neat.
And so it's basically like a little battle between magicians. I know almost no cardistry, so I lost immediately. But watching the 3 of them like false shuffle and everything else, and I saw it, you did a run, and it's like, no, I didn't. And it's like, hang on, do it again. Oh, okay, I was wrong. All right, you're fine. It was just watching the 3 of them fucking. Because it was hide the ace, and it was always, you either had to put it on the top or the bottom. And you could move it after somebody guessed. So if you had it on the right spot, you were fine. Like if they said top and it was on the bottom, you were fine. But if they guessed it right, you were supposed to move it. And if they caught you moving it, if they knew what you did, if they saw the trick, you were out. And it was just stupid, but it was so much fun watching these assholes just like false shuffling, and like cards would just disappear. It's like, what the fuck's going on here?
Mine would be, hey, look at that.
I was gonna say, like, so you got out because you were like, oh, hide the ace.
Why? I know a handful of things, and I can fake deal and a couple things, but like these guys were properly good.
Yeah.
And like they caught me instantly, because it's like I know like 4 card tricks at best, like 4 moves with cardistry at best, other than like a few flourishes I can do. But those they're meant to be seen, so they're not. You can't hide them. But these guys were fucking amazing, and amazing by my standards. Actual proper card magicians would probably be like, those guys suck. But to me, they were incredible. That was a fun game.
Right on.
But that's a very unique game that you can only play with a certain crowd.
Yes.
But basically you're just flexing cardistry skills on
Yeah.
each other all night. Like I said, I lost round 1, so.
Yeah. Right on.
But no, I love cards. I love
Yeah.
playing cards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Are we at time? Yeah,
yeah.
we're at time. All
with
right.
that said, if you've played Starfield, tell us what you think down below. If you've played Sea of Stars, and I hope to God you have.
Tell us how amazing it is.
Tell it, yeah. Throw in your comments there. Let us know what you thought of it. Tell us what kind of card games you play with your friends, family, whatever. We'd love to try any kind of card game.
Yeah.
And do you love Wingspan too?
Yeah. No, they do.
I mean, I've never
Yeah.
played it, and I
It's-
just bought it based off of Adrian's
Yeah,
word.
no, it's
so.
it's a great game. Yeah, we can have just like an echo chamber of, Sea of Stars and Wingspan are great. We can just, that'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
the comment section. So
Yeah.
it'll just be the three of us being, yeah, these are
Pretty
great.
Oh, yeah. GOTY. GOTY.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for watching. Sarah, why don't you say goodbye? You don't
Like Adrian said, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell a bunch of friends. If you're not subscribed yet and you've been watching us, what is your problem?
Yeah,
Fix
fuck
this
you.
issue. We love you all. We'll see you next week.
We do.